Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy Does It, a podcast created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. Rob and I are excited to be back with you. We have a great episode for you today. It's another guest host episode.
Oh, yeah.
So we're pumped about having someone else here today to bring us some good stuff. Rob, can you introduce our co-host for said episode?
Who do we have up in this piece? We've got Mr. Ethan Edberg.
That's me.
Woo!
Man, so Ethan's one of our supervisors on the HVAC team. I've known this cat for, probably like 6 months or something like that.
Shoot.
Let's try several years. Yeah.
Yeah, more like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Uh-huh.
Man, so me and Ethan, we've obviously worked together for a while. I know obviously he works with both of us, but I kind of met Ethan through the technician process, but then we all went down to Mustang Week one time. Went down there, me, him, and Ryan Lynch, who has not been on here. We probably need to get the Grinch Lynch on here. That'll be good.
Yes.
Man, my favorite story, I was telling Meredith about this, and I was like, man, I remember going down to Mustang Week, us all cruising down there, and you had your 2010 GT, the black one with the blue stripe, one. 2012.
Yep.
2012 automatic,
yep.
Which I can't believe you did that.
Oh, no.
I can't believe you did it.
I made up for it with the 2017, though.
Yeah, you did. Well, I figure you probably made it up for it with the type of exhaust you chose to put on there.
Well, there's that, too. Yeah.
He had straight pipe exhaust, no cats. And so we're driving down to the beach. And driving down there, I don't think it was that bad because it was hot, so we had the windows up. But then when we got down there, you roll the windows down and you cruise, right?
Duh.
This mofo has no cats, so we're like riding behind him, about to swerve off the road with like carbon monoxide poisoning.
I remember you telling me about that.
It
Like, dude,
smelled
I can't even breathe
so
behind
bad.
your car.
It was bad. I was like, I can't. It's like riding behind an old diesel truck, and you're just like the whole time. So he told him he had to bring up the rear. You're always going to be in the back, no matter where we go. The thing would shake windows with how loud it was. We knew you were coming a mile away. It's crazy.
It sounded good, though.
It did sound good.
It was loud.
Did sound good.
See, when Rob comes down there and he tells me these car stories, I shake my head and smile because I don't know, but nothing about no straight pipe, nothing about no cats. He had to give me some analogies for what this actually looks like and means. It basically just means it's loud.
It's loud, and it was loud and smelly.
It's loud, and in North Carolina, the exhaust would technically be illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't pass inspection. Like
It's a good thing we're in South Carolina right now. I'm trying to keep you out of jail. I'm glad we're in Mexico right now.
It's funny to me, this loud car thing. I don't understand. I know, Shallon, we've talked about this before. So I don't understand what is the appeal. Like, why do you want your car to be loud? Why don't your car to be that loud? Is the loudness a representation of the power of the car?
It's the representation of macho-ness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the machismo.
All right, okay, we just gonna call a spade here. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, got
It's
it.
just like a thing. I don't know.
I don't know. You always see the things because race car. It's like, I mean, the epitome of like what racing and all that stuff is, it's like full on performance. And usually if you have a performance car, it's extremely loud. So you watch like the Top Fuel racing or you watch NASCAR, them things is loud, right? So then when you have your own vehicle and you're driving around, it's like, well, I may not want to be NASCAR. Well, some of us don't want to be NASCAR loud. Some of us do
does.
sitting in this room.
Yeah.
But you may not want to be NASCAR loud, but you want it to sound good. So you want to hear the engine, so you change your exhaust and then you get to hear it a little bit. But there's so many varying degrees and like the tonality of what it sounds like. Ryan Lynch, the same cat we were talking about, Ryan has changed. I swear he's probably need to get stock in Meineke because that fool was like, I don't know, I changed the exhaust. I just don't like the way it sounds. The volume level's good. I don't like the way it sounds. So then he'll get different mufflers. Then he changed it, and then he's like, this is better. I think I like it. And then 3 weeks later, I'm waiting for him to come back. He's like, no, I just don't like it. And he'll change it again.
Yep.
I swear he had a G35, changed the exhaust probably 4 times on that one. Then he got the first Mustang, the 2012, I think is what he had, the black one.
The black one, yeah.
He changed the exhaust on that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Then he got the GT 500, and then that full he put the GT exhaust, I think, on it. Then he changed his cats. Then he changed resonators. Then he took them out. Then I'm like, dude, just stop. Just stop.
Yeah, just like get it set up and just leave it alone.
I would go tell my wife, and she's like, I can't believe him. I'm like, I mean, I can, but I've told him, like, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
So, okay, I didn't even realize this is like a whole new world. I don't even know a lot of what you guys are saying right now, but it's interesting to me that there's like this. I'm assuming that you two and Ryan are likely not the only people who are this invested in the cars.
Not even close.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You can just go on YouTube and just look up any type of vehicle and just say Mustang GT MagnaFlow exhaust sounds. And it'll have those just people on there recording it with mics like this. They'll record it so you can hear what it sounds like, so you can kind of decide like, yeah, I don't like the way the tone sounds on that one. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have Flowmaster, or I want Borla or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all preference, but
maybe we should make a little club. There should be a club here at MJ.
We
almost had one at one point, pretty much, with all of the Mustangs.
Yes. Alfonso out front rattling the windows out there. Right. He's part of the club automatically.
Every day at 2:30. We all know.
Alfonso clocking out.
100%.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, it's time to grab bag it.
Okay.
It's grab bag time.
All right. So, we've been doing our grab bag of questions, and today we have a really good one. And we do, as no surprise to our listeners, talk about this beforehand because y'all know I can't come up with this on the fly. So, here is our question for today. If you could live in any previous time period, which one would you choose?
Do I get to answer first?
Yeah,
yes, you're our guest.
So I've always told my wife, I don't know what it is about like the 70s and 80s, but I would live in the 70s and 80s for some reason. I was born in 90, which I like the 90s, so I was a little kid in the 90s though. Mm-hmm. So like I remember a lot of it, but I don't remember all of it, right? Because I was just a little kid. But looking back at like the 80s hair band, like music videos and stuff, I'm like, bro, I'd love to be at those concerts right now because I love live music and love concerts. And I'm like, those just look so fun, and the styles back then were different. Like I wish I was almost like an adult in like the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Would you want to like go all the way back to like early 70s so you can experience 70s turning into the 80s, or would you rather be at like the tail end of the 70s just as the 80s are hitting?
Probably the tail end of the 70s. Yeah. I think that would be cool.
Yeah. I feel like my wife is an old soul because she listens to all kinds of music, and it'll be we was it satellite radio 60s on 6, 70s on 7, and then my little boy Jack 80s on 8. He just says that all the time in the back seat, but I'm exactly the same, dude. 80s would be the jam.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I mean, okay. What year were you born?
86. I wasn't. Okay. I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's
like him being born in the night. Was it 90 what?
90.
Like, you were at 90?
I'm 4 years younger than you.
Yeah, so I was born in 86, so I mean I was a kid. So the 90s for me, it was kid time, but it was like you start rolling into where you like can appreciate the music and know what's going on. Mm-hmm. I love listening to pop rocks. Pop rocks is nostalgic for me.
Give me an example.
I mean, it's all the like 90s and 2000s music on there, like satellite radio. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I got in the car with my wife, and like I always like when I listen to some of the music, some of the stuff. I'm like, I ain't listening to that, but I'll listen to pop rocks, and I'm like, oh, it just takes me back. Mm-hmm. I remember being in like school. I even remember back to daycare some of the music that they were playing at the time. It was like when. Well, I don't like this, but it is what it is. Spice Girls were popping.
Oh yeah.
NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were popping out, and so people were
90s.
talking about it all the time. But all the other music that surrounded that's just all nostalgic. You hear these songs, but I just realized the other day that what I'm putting my kids through right now with listening to pop rocks and all this is exactly what my parents did to me back when I was a kid listening to 80s music. That's why I love 80s music. So it feels weird to be in that weird moment now.
Oldies.
I'm old now.
Yeah, oldies. Okay, well, let's all just call a spade, who the oldest in the room. Because I really think it's interesting when you're like, I'd like to live in the 80s. Okay. I was born in 1980.
Mall bangs.
Yes. Yep. If you listen to our last episode, we talked about mall bangs. So I guess I mean, I was also a child in the 80s. I don't know who I was talking about this. You guys have probably seen these memes and things on social media too, where it's like when people say 20 years ago, I think they're talking about 1980. Like 2000 is my reference point for all years like previous. If somebody says 30 years ago, I would think they're talking about the 70s. But they're not.
It's not, yeah.
No, they're talking about 90s.
They talk about the 90s.
Which is a weird thought.
That's really weird to me.
It is. That makes you feel old.
Oh, yes.
I'm the youngest in the room, and I feel old.
Yeah. It's so. Anyway, my generation would for sure be the 70s. And it is because I love to dance. And let me be in my 20s and it be the cool thing to do to go out to the disco every single night.
Oh, yeah.
The disco.
Because, as like you guys are saying, my parents, I grew up listening to all sorts of music. Motown, for sure. Love it. The Bee Gees, absolutely love the Bee Gees. Saturday Night Fever, I don't know, this is also showing my age. Such a great movie with John Travolta. Oh my God, it's amazing.
I don't think I've even seen it.
Yes. Yeah. Rob's doing the pointer finger dance, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think that I would have just the bell bottoms, the hair.
Oh yeah, the high platform shoes.
Yes. Yep. The
floor.
dance floor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The dance floor that looks like a bingo board and it lights up in different colors.
Yo, did you know? Y'all know that there's? I got to find the name of the place, but there's a place here in town that is full of games, and they get gradually harder as you go on. But they actually have a floor that looks like that, but it's almost like the floor is lava. Like you can't be standing. You only can be standing on the lit up floor tiles. Have you seen that?
I don't even know.
No, I know this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that pop up and I'm like, oh, we need to go there.
Yeah.
That would be sick. You're just talking about the colored floors. I want to go do that.
Yeah.
That'd be a good time.
Yeah. It's I do think I missed my calling in the 70s because it wasn't like discos and things like you could go to a club.
Yeah.
You could go to a club, but that was not the same. The dancing for sure ain't the same.
No, it's not.
Let's be clear. I like that dancing too because
it's definitely not.
Definitely after the 70s, then for me would be like the 90s, 2000s because I love hip hop. 90s hip hop, that's my jam. So I mean, I could get down with going to the club too, but I was alive in the 90s. So I guess if I'm talking about going back to a previous time, it would be the 70s.
Yeah. I love listening to like pop culture, like people talk about the different kind of movies and everything, all the music, the movies and all the stuff. My favorite movie, well, I have many, but the one that always takes me back and it's just the whole movie's nostalgia is Ready Player One. Have y'all seen that?
No.
I think I've heard of it.
It's kind of a sci-fi movie. The short premise is that we've advanced in society to where people don't want to live in normal society. Everybody's hooked on this like one big game that came out called the Oasis, and you can play. You could do anything you want. You wear like a VR headset. You can wear like a full body suit, so you can feel like you can do shooting games, and you can feel the impact. You got your little controllers and everything, and you can actually walk on these like track pads and everything. So everybody lives in the Oasis, and nobody really wants to live in the real world, but it's a video game. But you can make money on that. You can do literally anything you want. But the whole movie is all about like pop culture, all movies and music and all this all cool stuff. Video games from when, well, you'll remember some of them. You probably a little bit too young, but some of it's like, some of the stuff is basically 90s and 2000s stuff.
Oh, okay.
When did this movie come out?
I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, something like that. I have to look that up.
Oh wow,
Okay.
I was thinking it was older than that.
Me too.
It could be.
Because I was thinking like that. It was almost like that video was predicting the future. Because
I'll say 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's like almost like it was predicting the future because that's how VR is now.
2018 is when it came out.
Oh.
Dang.
But that's like the VR headset they wear and everything like that. But it was actually a really, really good movie.
It's like, what's his name?
I need to watch it.
X-Men.
Dude, it's
looks
really
good.
good. It's really good, y'all.
Okay.
I think y'all would like it.
Sci-fi?
You won't. Well, maybe you won't like it. You like.
I'd like it.
Yeah, I think you like it.
Yeah, I would like
It's a lot of action and it's good, but it tells a story, and it's like they have to find the builder of the game. I guess he passed away, and so then he left 3 Easter eggs in the game that everybody, if you find all 3, you would own the game itself, which is like million or trillions of dollars or something like that. His net worth.
Interesting.
And so everybody's setting out to go do that, but nobody can find him because he just hit them in weird places. But it all comes down to how well you knew his life, and like the reality of what life is not about the game. It's actually about spending time with people.
Yeah.
So, which, you know, a little bit about what we're going to talk about today with relationships.
Seriously.
But it's a good movie. It goes pretty well. I like it.
All right,
I'll
maybe
have to
I'll
watch that one.
Maybe I'll try it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No promises there with that.
She'll watch it and just be like, Rob, that was terrible.
Yeah. She'll get through like 10 minutes of it, but all right, I'm watching.
I did not like
I'll
that.
say I
Rob.
tried.
So, Ethan, what I appreciate you coming on today, and Ethan, you're one of my favorite people to get to talk to, and anybody that gets to talk to you, you can't ever walk away from talking to you without laughing or having a good time.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, when Ethan's in the building, because you hear your infectious laugh down the hall.
I'm
it's
loud.
coming. it's the big laugh. You know that he's there, and so I know you wanted to talk about relationships today, but before we do, I mean, I know you've worked here. You said we've known each other for it's been a little over 10 years, right? Something like that. Something around that.
I remember the first time I met you on a call. It was a 3 or 4 system, and I was sent out to help you. It was a you only, and we had to pull down like this. It was like a nice neighborhood, but we had to pull down this like back road almost. It didn't have sidewalks or nothing. It was kind of like the back side of this neighborhood, and they were all the way down at the end. I don't know if you remember that.
Was it
or
on
not.
it was on a cul-de-sac? Was it out in
Almost, kinda, yeah.
I don't know if I remember that one.
And remember, I parked my van farther up from the driveway, and there's like this little gravel spot right off the little private drive. And I left it running because it was the middle of summer, and we had walked back, and you were like, dude, don't leave your van running. Somebody's going to steal it. I was like fresh out. Like, it was like 2014, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, that was my first summer.
Dang, it's been a long time.
Yeah. And I've been back to that house since then.
Have you really?
100%.
Wow.
Different homeowner.
Somebody moved out.
And I had to go. Remember all the units were on the left side of the house when you walk down the driveway, and then the crawl space. It wasn't really a crawl space. It was kind of like not a full size door, but almost. We kind of walk in. There's a furnace right there on your left. Then there's a furnace farther up. There was like 2 in the crawl. No, it's been a while.
Sometimes I can still do that, and I'll remember specific customers. Like we have one lady that she calls in all the time, Miss Barbara. She's the sweetest lady in the world. But I went to her house. I'll never forget her. I'll never forget her unit.
Yeah.
Like where it was and our conversations and all the things. And so she'll still call back in now and be like, "Tell Rob I said hello." And she'll 2 times a year I'll hear that.
That's amazing that y'all can remember those details.
Well, it's
if
funny
saw
you
the
can
house,
remember it.
He'd remember it.
I'm sure I would.
100%.
I'm sure I would.
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing how people have that visual mind where you can go to a house. Hey, do you remember the house that you were in Ballantyne or you were in South Park? And it's a big white house. Driveway's on the right side. The units are on the back left. They have a goat out back. Yes. That one.
Yeah. As soon as they start,
It's fun, and you don't even remember the customer's name,
Not
but it's
at
like,
all.
okay, now what's going on?
But you remember the house.
I got it.
What's
the
up,
goat house.
Yep. And then if you look in the history, you're like, dang, I've been here before. And you're like, I don't remember this house at all. And as soon as you pull up, you see the house, you're like,
Got it.
I remember everything about that day.
Got
I
it.
remember everything I did on that call. I remember the customer, the conversation, as soon as you see the house.
Oh yeah.
And everybody can attest to that. who's
That's
been in the field.
amazing. How our brains work.
Bud Rutz, he asked me about a call one day, or no, I went to a call with him one day. It was actually in South Park. It's a big white house. Actually, when you're coming up, you'd be coming from downtown, going towards South Park, and there's all these big houses on the left hand side. They have giant front yards.
Yes,
There's a
I know
big,
what road you're talking about.
See, it's
I know what
happening.
road you're talking about.
There's a huge white house up there, and they had twinned furnaces. They were both side by side. They were wired together, so when the thermostat called, both would turn on at the same time. It was just a big house in a very odd setup, and you couldn't put anything else anywhere else in the home. And I remember going there, and I was still a young tech, and I'm just like, Bud, what in the heck is this? And he's like, oh, it's just a twin furnace. We put it in. And he's explained all this stuff to me. And then sure enough, I'm talking to him 5-7 years later, because Bud's been here for a hot minute too.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, do you remember that house in South Park where it's the big white house? They have the twin furnaces. He goes, oh yeah, they're out back behind the house in the back. I'm like, yes. I'm like, how is this happening?
I don't know how y'all do that. That is so crazy to me. Like all these little file folders in your brains, and it's like you just pick the right. It's crazy.
Don't ask me what my wife just told me yesterday, but I can remember.
Right,
I can remember these
a
houses.
call from 5 years ago. 100%.
Well, Ethan, you've been here for a bit, and I know you've had experiences both directly and indirectly with Dewey, and we always like to bring a little, either Mr. Jenkins told me or some type of wisdom nugget from our experiences with him, or classes that we've taken, or just something like that. What's something that stood out to you over the years that Dewey has said, or it's an experience that you've had, or something you've read that has come from him that's made an impact on you?
I would say I said it the other day to Meredith to make sure it was a good subject, but it was basically when you don't know, like, look at people who know more than you. When you're in a situation and you don't know what to do, or look at people who know more than you or smarter than you to get the advice. Like, they always told us that years ago when I was like a young tech too. Like, don't call your buddy who you were in class with. Y'all know the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I leaned on you a lot when I was becoming a COD tech, at that time, my first year, and you were a supervisor at the time, I think. And I mean, you were like my lifeline. Call someone who knows more than you do. That's what they always told us. I think Dewey's probably told us that in a meeting before. But that was one thing that stuck with me over the years. And I feel like that's one thing that helped me grow as a technician, is learn from what everybody else is doing. You're successful in this business or at Morris-Jenkins, however you want to look at that. Look at what they're doing. What are you doing? How do you do this? How do I say this? How do I talk about that? And taking what they're saying, maybe make it your own, but look at people who know more than you do, because there's a lot of knowledge there. Yeah. And a lot of experience at this company, for sure. A lot of resources.
I love that about this company, is that there's a lot of people that have a lot of really good experience, and nobody's going to just hold on to it and like, I'm not helping you with that.
Right.
You would think, some of the techs might even be, I've seen it in other businesses, the techs, you call somebody like asking for help, and they don't want to help you because they don't want to give you the knowledge they have, because you might surpass them. And that's not the case here, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's such a cool thing to hear from someone like Dewey. To hear someone like Dewey, who is like one of the smartest people I feel like I've ever come into contact with, who was just an avid reader and just took in everything he could from every possible place, and still he would say, listen to people who are wiser and smarter than you. That coming from someone who is the wiser and smarter in my book, I think speaks volumes about how he was kind of trying to impart on the rest of us, like, you never know enough. You've never learned everything that you could learn. Stay curious, never stop growing. What that says is that he also did that. He also learned from people that were wiser and smarter than him. And if he can do it, then surely I can do it, right? So I think that that's always been really cool, that came from someone who is super wise, super smart, but still knew that there were people out there who knew more than he did. I think I've said in quite a few meetings, we could all go here, there, and everywhere for professional development. Like, we could go to a conference here and we could listen to this here and do that there. And we should do all of those things. But quite honestly, I think some of the very best professional development we can get comes from right here in this building.
For sure.
The people who do the same things that we do all day, every day. There's no need to go to a conference and learn X, Y, and Z from someone else, because there's probably somebody right here in this building who's already doing that or already knows how to do it. And so I think sometimes we think that wiser and smarter has to come from like
elsewhere.
Yeah, it has to come from somebody who's like written a book or has a podcast or whatever. It has to come from, but quite honestly, that can come from the person who's literally just running calls right alongside you or taking calls up here in the contact center. You can learn just as much from that person that's sitting right there beside you.
Yeah. Ethan, do you feel like who really pops in your mind, or what are you reading that pops in your mind that embodies that? Listening to somebody that's smarter than you.
I'm not much of a reader, to be honest with you. I'll fall asleep reading a book. I ain't gonna lie, if I'm sitting on the couch. But what was the original question?
Dude, let me tell you,
I heard reading. I was like, nah, that's not me.
I don't necessarily enjoy the reading piece. I enjoy learning. So then I'll listen to podcasts or I'll do Audible. That's always my option.
Yeah.
Or if I'm really trying to study a book, then I end up listening to the Audible on the way to work, and then I'll pull the book out and I'll go back and underline stuff. That way it sticks in my brain. But so who in your life right now is that person that you're like, I'm listening to this person because they're smarter than me? Or what are you learning right now that's helped educate you in that realm?
I would say a person that's smarter than me that can give me advice, especially in the role that I'm in now, since I'm not technically a field technician. I would say it would definitely be Mark, because he's more, obviously I've worked for him for years, but at this point, he's more my director, if you will, right, over the service department. But he's been doing a management role a lot longer than I have, especially at Morris-Jenkins. So learning anything I can get from him on what his experiences are, what's worked for him, what didn't. So definitely, I would say Mark. When I was in the field, I would have said it was you for sure. Like how you would talk to a customer, like all that stuff we talked about over the years. I learned a lot, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I think it helped me a lot in the field to be successful. Because I applied it. It's the one thing someone can teach you something, and you're like, yeah, that's cool, whatever, and then you don't do anything with it. Like, well, what was the point of learning it?
Yeah.
So like any of those conversations we had when you were out on calls with me, or the classes I've taken with you, or even just your meetings in the tech meeting, just sitting there paying attention to what you're actually saying, I'm like, this makes sense. Like, let's try that and see if it works. I feel like a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. Well, you've made a lot of the stuff that you've learned here your own. Like you've blazed your own path, and it's interesting hearing you teach or talk to technicians. I've heard some of your phone calls, or I've heard you just talking to people. I think there was one meeting not long after you got your supervisory role, and I'm hearing you coach and teach people, and I'm like, dang, that's really good. And you've made things your own, and you've learned things that I'm like, dang, I haven't heard that before. That's huge. And you're in the spot that you're able to affect so many different people out there. And what you're actually doing is you're doing what Dewey said. You're teaching people, and they're looking up to you. They're like, man, this person's wiser and smarter than me. I can actually learn from this person.
Yeah,
which is great.
Which is one reason why I wanted to take that role.
Yeah.
Or this role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Just for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I remember when you and Evan popped up there. I'm like, these two dudes are studs. And sometimes, like, when you move a supervisor or two up, you might have one person that really excels and just blazes a huge path, and the other one, sometimes they just take longer to like pick things up, but when they got it kind of deal. But you and Evan like exploded the service department, stepping in like, all right, I'm going to do training on this, and we're going to pull people in. I'm like, oh shoot, they better watch out up over there. That's right. Meredith, do you have somebody that is that person for you that you look up to, or maybe it's somebody that's not in your direct circle? Is there a book or somebody, when we talked with Corey, like in that tree, the tree that we grab experiences and ideas from that you're learning from right now?
I feel, because I am high theoretical, I feel like I'm learning from all the things coming in all the directions all the time. Obviously, we've talked about Brene Brown on here before. She's like my idol. And so I do believe she's an author that I feel like I have kind of gravitated towards. I feel like here I'm always trying to pick up. We talked about this. We just read the book, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. We read it as a training team. I highly recommend it. Also in the library. And one of the chapters is about a worthy rival. And a worthy rival is not necessarily, you're not trying to beat the person. It's not about competition necessarily. It's about looking at this person as they embody things that you feel like you need to work on. So obviously not necessarily weaknesses, because we know from what Dewey's also taught us that it's not a good use of our time to spend all of our time working on our weaknesses. But I do think the worthy rival is looking at others and saying, what can I take from you? Because it's worthwhile of my time. So we talked about, I see things in Rob, I see things in Shallon, the people that I work with closely and directly every day. There's pieces of what they bring to the table that I feel like are maybe not my weaknesses, but maybe not my strongest points either, So like when Rob gets up in front of a crowd, there's a certain confidence and charisma, and, he could sit down and have this podcast and he can just like talk without any notes, and he can navigate this conversation and ask really good questions. And those are all things that I don't feel like I'm great at. So I think being on this podcast has forced me to pick up some of those things and to trust myself to know what to say. And so I think just recognizing we have people around us every single day that bring things to the table that we can pick up from, whether it's like Brene Brown, who is a person who I will likely never meet.
You never know.
You don't ever know.
Might happen one day.
I know. I shouldn't say that. I should not say.
You are going to meet her in the airport one day. I can just feel it. You're going to be like, oh my gosh.
She's going to be like, security.
Yeah. This lady's crazy.
It's going to be like that lady. Security.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is when I meet, Michael always says, you don't ever meet famous people because you don't know how to behave. Like, and I wouldn't fangirl. I couldn't say anything. It would be completely and totally. I can't.
I could see you sitting over there just absolutely captivated. Like,
absolutely.
Just staring at him like, can you believe this? Let me take a picture real quick just to make sure.
That's exactly what I do.
Take a picture real discreetly.
Yeah. Michael, let's take
with
a selfie.
The flash
all
on.
Creepy. Yeah, all creepy.
So it could be that there's these people that you may or may not ever meet that we are wiser and smarter than us. But I also think that there are people around us every day that I think you have to be aware. Mm-hmm. I feel like I am aware of the things. Not all the things, still working, never done working on yourself, but I feel like I am aware of the things that I need to be working on, and I'm looking for those things in other people that I can kind of pick up from.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like one person, but I really try and look for the things I want to work on in other people, worthy rivals.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think if you're aware enough that there are always things that you can pick up from people around you, whether it be people here in the contact center. I mean, just getting to talk to Brandon, he just literally walked by in the window. Talking to Brandon, there's stuff to learn from him. Working next to Adrian, people on the operations team, I'd pick up stuff all the time from those cats. Outside of work, there's two people on the softball team. It's our head coach, Dave, who one of the most positive people. He would give Adrian a run for her money. Like, one of the nicest people in the world. Always has a positive spirit, but there's so many things I picked up from him. And then there's another gentleman on the softball team. He's one of the kids' parents, Justin. Super savvy when it comes to like money, and I mean, he's just experienced so much. And we were just randomly talking the other day, and I saw somebody was reading The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and I was like, oh, The Alchemist. And he's like, you read? I'm like, I can. I was like, I've read that one twice. And he's like, really? And so we started talking about books. We were talking about Simon Sinek, because that's when we were reading Infinite Game, and we were talking about all these authors. And I didn't realize like how deep his knowledge was, and like how wide. And we started talking about positive mentality and what that does for you and belief in that. And I'm just like, you've been on this team for the past 4 months and I didn't know all this stuff, man. This is cool. And so he's actually helped me with some stuff right now. And he's just like, here's step 1, work on this now and come back later. And I'm like, I got it. So it's cool when you meet people that sometimes you have no idea what they know. And even if it's like a CSR that just got hired, they have life experience too.
Yep.
There's always something you can learn from. Same thing from a customer. I mean, you can go to a customer's house. It doesn't even matter what they do. You just start talking to them. And if you're curious enough, you'll find that they have so much stuff to offer you if you're open and ready to hear it.
Yeah, which I think that's a perfect segue, I think, into what Ethan chose as the topic for today, which is relationships. Because I feel like if you're not open and willing and ready and curious to ask those questions and to find out those things about people, to start working on that relationship, then how would you ever know those things?
Right.
You know, how would you ever know those things that they have to offer you if you're not focused on or thinking about how can I develop this relationship? How can I open myself up to this relationship?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you before we get into this, Ethan.
Ask me.
Why, of all the things you could have picked for today's topic, why was relationships the first thing that came to your mind?
I would say switching from a tech to this role, since I've only been a supervisor technically for a little over a year now. As a tech, I had a little circle of people. I mean, everybody who knew me probably knows exactly who I'm talking about, right? I had a little circle of people that I talked to every day. There was a lot of other techs, like I've known them, hey, how you doing, whatever, what's up, man? But I didn't really know them. So I become this role, I got to know everybody. I didn't know any maintenance technicians at the time when I started supervision. Maybe a few, just a few. Maybe because they rode with me in the field or something like that. But now, like, being in this role, I talk to everybody, mainly on the phone. And sometimes, like, I was trying to, like, put a face to a name. So I'm like, dude, this guy's calling me. Like, I know his voice, but I don't know what he looks like. Until I actually went to meetings and started meeting more people. And that's one of the first things Mark told me and Evan when we switched was, just go out there. He's like, I don't want you to worry about anything else. Don't worry about emails, nothing. Just go out there and meet people. Because the relationship that we have between like supervision now role and technician role, obviously we needed to grow that relationship. That way we can build respect and rapport with each other. So if something happens or like they need advice, like they're okay coming to us on that. So I felt like with just my journey at Morris-Jenkins, where I'm at right now, building relationships with all these techs was one of the biggest things that I had to do in this role, which is why I kind of chose that subject. Just like relationships that Rob and I had over the years, just being friends, even outside of work, at work, you know, we could just talk to each other and I could take any advice I could from him because I was comfortable coming to him. So if I don't really know you that well, I might not, it's not as easy maybe for me to say, hey man, can you help me with something? Because I don't know what you're going to think about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that may play a little bit into my personality, being kind of a high I. I'm like worried about what people are going to think, or, you know, I don't want people to not like me. It's just one of those things, but that's kind of why I picked that topic.
Yeah, and I think high I or not, this is one of the things that I wrote down for what we were going to talk about today is kind of like these building blocks of relationships. And I think high I or not, we all want to come across for one reason or another. My reason for coming across as competent and able, independent might be different than yours. You know, high I might be because I want people to like me. You know, mine might be because I need stability in my relationships because of my high S, or it could be because I don't want you to see me as a failure. Probably that's more like it. But I think it's all, we want people to see us as strong, independent, competent people. And when you have to come to somebody and say, I need help, I can't do this, I screwed up, like those are really hard things to say those are vulnerable things to say to someone who you have no relationship with. And so I think that's where that comes in. If we're able to establish that relationship, even if it's just like a little bit before a technician has to call you and say, hey man, I screwed up, or I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, what do I do in this situation?
Yeah. It takes a lot of vulnerability to call somebody and say, particularly because I think technicians and everybody, all employees, they bring previous baggage to their role here, and maybe in the places they worked before, mistakes weren't okay. If you made a mistake, you done, you out. And here, I do believe that to some extent, we're like, okay, we can work with that. I got you, man. Like, we can help you, but it takes a lot for somebody to be vulnerable enough to say, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a hard thing to do, is be vulnerable and ask for help in anything, really. I mean, it's a tech out in the field, just like you said, don't call your buddies, call somebody that can actually help you. I remember Brett Sumter used to always say, please ask questions, please call and ask for help, because I know you don't know anything.
Yeah.
He's like, don't act like you know, just call, it's okay. And I thought that was some great advice, because it's true.
It is true.
It's like, I haven't heard from you in about 6 weeks. You doing good? Yeah, I'm doing fine. And it's like, I heard you blew up 3 control boards out there. Yeah, I did do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you what advice would you give people if they're trying to work on building better relationships with people? What have you found work best for you?
I would say be curious, asking good questions. Kind of like Meredith said, we got to be a little vulnerable with it too. I kind of always look at it like when I was going to a customer's house, obviously everybody kind of knows I signed up a lot of people for Priority Advantage, right? It's kind of a known thing. So if I'm going to someone's house, I've never met this person before. In order for me to really be like, I don't want to say friends with them, but friends or have a relationship with that customer, like within the first 10, 15 minutes, I need to ask good questions, find something they're interested in. Let's talk about something other than HVAC. That way I can get like on a friendship, kind of start to build a relationship with this customer, because then they're going to do business with me when they know, like, and trust me. Mm-hmm. We've all heard that before. That's probably for some David Smith scenario there coming back from the past. But same thing with relationships at work. If they know, like, and trust you, right, that relationship's going to be a lot stronger. Mm-hmm. And then if you're going into the field with your customer, if they know, like, and trust you, I tell techs that all the time. Like, people are going to do business with you if they know, like, and trust you. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. If they don't trust you, why are they going to spend money on that capacitor or whatever it is, right? Or why are they going to sign up for the regular maintenance if they don't trust the company or if they're not comfortable with it?
Yeah.
So be curious, ask good questions, just listen with the intent of, like, understanding too. So just listen to what they're saying.
Yeah. I really like that. I like the first thing you said was being curious. And I think the second thing you said was asking good questions. I mean, when you think about meeting people for the first time, most people want to be interesting and instead of being interested in them. And so they just spend time just talking about themselves the whole time. I mean, most people want to talk about themselves. Yeah. I mean, it's normal, but when I think it's a shock to people when someone's actually just curious and just ask you questions, because it's not normal.
Oh yeah.
And I know the techs know this, and I know it's usually more on the tech side, but everybody else that works here, it's like, why do we do what we do? We're out here to take care of our customers. We want to make it easy for them. And when we go to a customer's house, it's not that I have something that you need to get. Like really, it's, we're there to just take care of you. You need heating and air help, we're there to help you. But I don't want that relationship, and I know you don't want the relationship to be there to where it's just a transaction. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm here to just fix whatever you need and I'm out of your hair. It's like, I want to actually build a relationship where it's a working relationship where I'm here to help you. It'd be awesome that I can come back to your house again and get to know your kids by name. And there was one lady, it's actually another Barbara, it's my mom's name too. She lives actually in Dewey's neighborhood. I'll never forget her. I went to her house And it was just her in the house, and she was telling me her son was I think he was in the military. I can't remember if he was going the SEAL route or whatever. But I just was like, man, that must be really like scary, just thinking your kid's going to go do all that. And she was just like at that moment in her life where she was worried and all the things. She's like, yes. And we built a relationship, like a bond. And then I kept going back out to her house, and I was able to check in, like, how's it going with him? Like, what's the next steps for him? Like that. I'm sure I would want to do business with somebody that actually cares.
Right.
I just happen to do heat and air, but I care. And I think customers can appreciate that we care, and we just happen to have a skill that you need. While we're building relationship, we can talk a little heat and air, but like, let's build a relationship.
Oh yeah.
So that's all, just being curious with people and asking questions. People have their own lives too. And when you get involved with that, then I mean, the heat and air stuff will come, or the plumbing stuff will come. We'll take care of that stuff here in a little bit, but what's most important is getting to know the person standing in front of you. And
that's another thing why I picked this subject, is just because being in the kind of the seat in the stadium that I was at Morris-Jenkins, kind of like, I could just say what my role was and what I did for all those years is basically build relationships with people and start the relationship between Morris-Jenkins and that customer, right? And what happens after I leave, I can't control. But what I did there at the first initial visit is build that relationship, and then of course comes along with that, I get a lot of me-onlys.
Yeah,
just like you're talking about, going back to the same houses because they request you, which is cool because then you, like you just said, you get to know them more. They told you something the last time, you get to follow up with them on it. You know what their kids are doing. Like, I mean, I can think of 3 or 4 people right off the top of my head. I haven't seen them in a while because I'm not in the field anymore, but like, I knew what they did for jobs. I knew why they moved. I knew their kids were going to college, or they had a grandbaby, or whatever it is. So we got on that, I guess, company customer relationship, but it went a little deeper.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it made it worked for me. Like, I think that's my personality, and building those relationships helped me do what I did at work every day.
Yeah. And it's almost like, and I know that's not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, I guess, but at the same time, if this is what you're going to be doing day in and day out, is going out and meeting new people, it kind of seems like it would just make the work a little bit more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Than to just be that kind of transactional, like, I'm here, I fixed it, you know,
Peace out.
Yeah, I'm done. And I know that some people, that's kind of what they're looking for. They're looking to go use their expertise and then get out. I think to some extent you could probably use your expertise even more if you did take the time to invest in that relationship, because the customer is going to tell you more about what they're looking for in their home, what they're looking. I mean, they're just going to open up more to you when you've developed that relationship. So to me, it seems like if you invested the time in building those relationships with customers, then all in all, it makes the day-to-day of the job a little bit more fulfilling.
Especially seeing the new customers. You're the first one.
Yeah.
You get to set the stage for what Morris-Jenkins is bringing to the table. And so you got to be ready for that too. And like, be on point, because they don't know what to expect. So I think it's a little different than going to customers who they kind of know the deal. You know, they know we're going to ask where the attic is. They know the routine. They know we're going to provide some kind of options of what's needed, when it's needed. But like that first time customer, I feel like that's like my bread and butter. That's like the best scenario. Yeah,
it's probably like, I would imagine there's like this feeling of, I don't know what the right words are, but it's like this feeling of, man, look what I was able to do. You know, is like an ambassador of Morris-Jenkins, because, you know, customers, I was just kind of having this epiphany while you were sitting here talking. It's like our technicians and our plumbers, the customer doesn't know about what's happening here, you know, at the mothership, here at the home base. And then every single technician or plumber that's going out there into customers' homes, it's like you're an extension. You're the people that bridge between here and out there.
Yeah.
And so when you can bring somebody who's never had an experience with Morris-Jenkins, there must be really a feeling of pride, I guess, is maybe the right word, of like, look what I was able to do. I was able to show this person what we can provide them.
Yeah, what we're all about
as a service company. I think that there's probably a feeling there that feels really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a lot of satisfaction over it over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Hit champion goals for all that too, which is just a bonus, I guess you could say. But just the actual going out in the field, creating that relationship, building the customer base was like, once I figured out I could do it and how to do it, and that I was good at it, I was like, this is my jam. Mm-hmm. This is where I need to live.
Yeah.
And I think, Rob, I'll point you out again. I think you were one of the first ones to kind of realize that back in like 2016, maybe. I think I had signed up a lot of Priority Advantage members that year, and I think I hit champion, like maybe the bottom tier. Remember when it was like service champion at the time? Champion, yeah. And you didn't even get like anything for it. It was like patch on your shirt. Good job, buddy. That was pretty much all it was at that point until it all changed. But I think I hit it that year off of that. And then the next year, 2017, it was like crown the whole time after that.
Yeah, I remember you and Rob Hess used to
battle it out.
Battle all the time. Yeah. Oh, crazy Rob.
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe how has building relationships changed for you from being more customer focused to being more in the supervisor role? Do you feel like it's changed?
The technicians are kind of now my customers, if you think about it that way, maybe.
Mm-hmm. How much are you charging them?
Yeah, I'm like, bro, if you're calling me for any kind of assistance
$89 for the first minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna charge you by the minute we on the phone. Some guy's got a big tab right now. I don't think it's really changed all that much. It's really, people are people. Everybody's different, but you still getting to know them. Like outside of work, what do you like? Like, what do you like to do? We can talk about that when we're on the phone if we're not in some big jam about something. But just, I don't really think it's any different, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think it's about
you
the same.
said know, like, and trust, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, people are people.
Yeah.
Technicians, if they know, like, and trust you, then regardless of what they're calling you for, whether it's just to shoot the breeze or whether it's for a real problem, it's still the same types of, I think the same types of underlying needs as a person are still present. I think that's no different than any relationship, probably. I mean, even the ones with our loved ones, I think they're all founded in the same types of things. We're looking for the same types of things in all relationships,
right?
No matter what they are,
right?
Do y'all think there's a difference between building trust and building relationships?
I think it kind of comes hand in hand.
I don't think you can have a relationship without
trust.
Yeah. I think it is the bedrock of relationships.
Trust.
Yeah.
How do y'all? I know everybody. We have the Webster's definition of it, but how do y'all define trust in your own heart or mind or soul?
I think this is not my definition. In emotional intelligence, I'm reading that book right now. There's a lunch and learn coming up on that. BT Dubs.
Is that open to our customers?
What do we have for lunch?
we should start casting that on YouTube or something.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. So what he says in there is people trust what they see over what they hear. So I think people are looking for your actions to match your words. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what book that is in, Bringing Out the Best in People. They say the same thing. When your actions match your words, that's trust. I do think there's a piece of trust where it's like, I do what I say I'm going to do. Like, if I'm going to help Rob plan a class, then I do my portion of that class and I give that to him. Yeah. You do what you say you're going to do. I do think that is a portion of trust. But I think another portion of trust is I can say to Rob, I'm feeling, which I have before, I'm feeling really emotional today, and I don't know why. And recognize that that's not going to be held against me. He's not going to think I'm weak because I said that. There's that vulnerability piece that starts to come in that I think is also a big piece of trust. It's doing what you say you're going to do, your actions matching your words, but it's also, I can be my true, authentic self, and it will not be used against me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think kind of bouncing off of that, when you first asked the question, Rob, I was kind of thinking something similar to what you were saying. Like, you know what to expect out of that person, I guess you could say, the expectations. You know what their actions are going to be. And, like, what they say and what they do matches, I guess, in that. I was kind of thinking the same thing. Yeah, when you first asked it.
I think it was in the mentorship class, or maybe it was Compass Group. I can't remember, but we were talking about trust. And I was trying to look up definitions online, because trust is something you always think about it in a positive way, which there is. I mean, most trust is in that direction. But I'm like, is there different forms of trust? How is it built? And one definition I came across goes in line with what you are saying, which is being able to anticipate someone's behavior. Mm-hmm. Like, if you look at trust at a core level with a marriage, or a friendship, or just a working relationship, or just, you could even make it an entity with work. I trust that work is going to be like this. I'm going to be able to anticipate when I show up, this, and this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. Or with my spouse, in this situation, I can trust that she's going to behave like this. Mm-hmm. And so if you're able to anticipate behavior, it's because you've seen it through repetition in your experience. And then you were talking about the brain. It's in a dark place. I don't remember what you said before. It was in a dark place.
No sound, no light.
Yep, all that. And it's trying to, like, predict what's about to happen. And so that really ties into what trust is. And so thinking about relationships, you building relationship with techs, you're building relationships with the people here in the business and different departments. I mean, the more times they have experiences with you, they're building trust, you're building trust, and they're able to determine, am I going to trust this person with vulnerability or not? Am I going to trust them with that soft side? What does Brene say? Soft front, strong back. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Heck yeah, boy. I would probably be over there with my mouth wide open too, taking pictures in the corner.
He's going to be over there fangirl.
I'll fangirl over there in the Delta Airport. But yeah, so I mean, I think trust is a proponent of that. It's an absolutely important part. And I know we've talked about vulnerability before, but vulnerability is another big piece of that, which is really hard. I mean, different people show vulnerability faster than others. I know sometimes for me, I sometimes trust people too quickly. I think over time I've been a little bit more guarded, just because people be crazy sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like for the most part here at Morris-Jenkins, pretty much with everybody, I can be pretty vulnerable about most things, because we have a lot of good people around here, which is great. It's not common to come across that all the time.
That's true. We do have a lot of good people at Morris-Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes it, well, like you were just saying, I trust it's almost like an umbrella over the company that's like, we can trust that when I call a supervisor that someone's going to be willing to help. You know, like,
if they answer the phone.
Yeah.
He's over here running up a bill with one of the other technicians. He's like, I told you it's $89 a minute.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not answering until you pay.
I'm not getting a field to collect today.
Yeah, I think it is. It's just nice for there to be this underlying sense of trust, that somebody here has my back. And I think it's important too, kind of like Rob was saying, the frequency of those interactions. I think we also have to recognize that everybody's different. Like, you might be calling a technician or working, like trying to get to know them and build this connection with them. And they're still kind of like, I don't know about this just yet. You know, we have to recognize that not everybody is going to jump on board the relationship train as quickly as others. And so it's just a matter of not giving up on them, kind of continuing. It just takes some people longer to trust. It doesn't mean that, I think sometimes, we want to, it's easier to be like, I've called so-and-so 5 times, and every time I can't get anything out of him. Yeah. And it's easier to just be like, gosh, he's just too introverted, right? Or he doesn't want to talk, or when really and truly it's just recognizing that everybody's different and not to give up on that person, but to keep working through that relationship.
Yeah, and if looking back at like disc styles, if you can kind of pick up, if you're knowledgeable enough on it and you can pick up on who you're talking to and kind of what their disc style is, or just experience with being with people on the phone, who's going to be shorter and they just want a direct answer, and who's going to want to talk about the HVAC side, and then just it's a 15-minute conversation about something completely different.
Yeah. Ethan, what kind of protein should I get?
It's funny that you say that, because Jay Hutchinson actually called me the other. Yeah, old pretty boy Jay, right? Jay. That's he called me asking me what kind of creatine I was on. He says, after we talked about the HVAC.
I thought you were going to say after he asked you about steroids. No. If you guys don't know, Ethan is about as wide as a house. He turned in sideways, just like Brandon Belk walked in here sideways to come sit down on the chair in here. Dude's massive.
Yeah, I think, but but that's the thing. That's what's cool about that, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that right there is what it's about, is the fact that you have this person who is a work relationship, and if we're really trying to keep everything separated in our lives, work and home, which we've talked about on here before, is like next to impossible, because we spend more time here than we do at home. Yeah. But for it to be just like there's an understanding there that he can ask you that, and he probably didn't even think twice. He probably didn't even think twice about asking you that question.
Right.
If somebody asks you a question about a car or a motorcycle or whatever, they probably don't even think twice about it, because the relationship there has been built to the place where we don't have to try so hard to keep those things separated.
Yeah.
Right. They can kind of blend.
Yeah. You probably didn't even think twice about giving him an answer. It's just...
Oh, yeah. I was like, no, I got it on Amazon. Here, I'll send you a screenshot.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that to me is what's so cool about building these relationships and going back to it being more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Like, particularly if you're a high I and you like to have those conversations with people, like, how sucky would it be every day to just be like, okay, put your meter on these places, tell me what you read. It's so stilted with just the HVAC part. Like, I think it's a little bit more fulfilling to us as individuals when we can connect on a different level.
Yeah. Do y'all think that technology's changed how we build relationships?
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody's at your fingertips on a phone, for sure. Texting, calling, all of that. Yeah. Is that kind of where you were going with that?
Wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what first thing came to my mind.
I think about you first meet people, there's that side, or you meet people online, or I mean, I know we got the whole dating thing where you can swipe left.
Right.
Something like that.
Swiping up in here. I don't know. But I mean, there's that side, but I don't know.
I think it's like, if I think about my daughters, I do think it's really important for me to teach them how to interact with people in person. I know that sounds crazy, but they do way more interacting with their friends through a technology platform than I ever did.
It's the generation.
Yeah, like if I was talking or working on a relationship with someone, I was either doing it face to face or I was doing it on the phone that was connected to the wall that had a cord, going back to the 1980. But so you're still talking. There's still this component of tone, and
for sure.
You can hear the inflection in my voice, and so I do think that there is a piece for my kids where they I have to be thoughtful about making sure they have opportunities to still do that.
Yeah.
Interact with people as people, like being people.
Yeah. Because they don't get, they don't have that interaction as frequently as maybe we did.
Yeah.
Did you have a MySpace?
I did.
You did?
I had a MySpace.
What song?
Dude,
did
that
you,
was.
What song?
I
Were you,
changed it every week or every day. I remember that.
You would put the coding in there. It would make your
100%.
page shimmer, or it would have certain songs on there. Then you had your top. Was it top five?
Top
or
5
three?
or 6 friends. Oh, and that started drama.
You would piss somebody off. Like, why am I not in your top 5? I had to change it.
Yeah, I remember that's probably like,
Dang.
For me, that's probably like 2003 or 4, probably 2004-ish.
I don't even
so
know.
I would have been
what
like
that
14.
was.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, rushing home after you get off the bus from like 8th grade or 9th grade at this point, and like logging on to AOL. Instant Messenger on dang dial-up.
Oh yeah.
All that mess.
And then when somebody would leave, it would be like the door would shut.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We get on MySpace. Oh yeah.
That was the worst sound in the world. And you're like, oh, they got off.
Yeah.
Or did it do the door squeak on the way
Yes.
on?
Yeah.
Yep, it did.
That gets you excited. You get a little whatever from somebody.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
It, like BRB, that like it is funny how that was like the precursor.
That was the start. I was about to say that.
Yeah.
It was kind of the start.
That it is so interesting. And so like my sister, I was older. And
it is what it is.
I know it is.
Just gotta embrace it.
It is. So I would remember my sister and I are 6.5 years apart. So I would be home from college and she would be over there tippity tap. I mean, she would be like furiously messaging people. So she's like in that. There's also this generation of people who know both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
That's where I am.
Yeah, they know how to interact with people, but they also really have a connection to this technology piece as well.
We grew up with it as it developed.
Yes. Yeah.
I might be biased, but I feel like that was the prime time because it was just as we're transitioning from like all face to face. I mean, you have like phone calls and texting. That was kind of like
wasn't really a thing much.
No, I remember begging my mom for a pager because she would, she would be like, Rob, you have got. She used my full name, Robin. She's like, you have got to call me when you get to the football game because we live right down the street. It was at Independence, right down the street from the school. So I'd hop in the car with my friend. I'd go there. Call me when you get there. I'm like, Mom, I don't have a phone. You got a quarter, don't you? And I'd have to go and put it in there. And I would forget. Sometimes I wouldn't do it. Then sometimes I'd forget. She'd be furious. I'd come back home. She's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, just get me a phone. I'm not getting you a phone. You have a quarter. Call me. Or call me from one of your friends' phones. And so then I was just like, it would be great if you just got me a pager. So if you need me, you can just hit my number, hit me up, and I would just call you back. And she's like, or you could be responsible and call me. So finally, I think in like 11th grade, which was like 2003, she got me a phone. I was at Chick-fil-A working, saying my pleasure. And she walks in the door and I'm like, Mom, what are you doing here? And she's like, here's a phone. I was pumped. I don't know if I got any work done that night.
Is this like... Describe said phone.
It was probably a flip phone.
Old Motorola.
Oh yeah.
It was like not the brick, but it was a Motorola with the blue screen. The whole thing was blue. And then later on, they came out with the Nokias that had Snake on there and all that stuff that you could play. Those you could change the covers. First phone you could change the covers on it. Oh, that was the jam. Your phone would go off in the classroom. The teachers were all mad because this is the new thing. These young bucks around here. But I feel like as you look, that was when you had conversations with people. Then it turned more digital, and then everything past that, it just accelerated so quickly. You think about MySpace, Facebook wasn't until later,
like 08.
Yeah,
07.
but people were able to communicate so easier now. Like if you wanted to talk to somebody before, you had to call them.
Right. You had to
at
make
home,
more of an effort.
Yeah, you had to catch them at home.
Yeah.
And if you were calling a girl, their dad might pick up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hello-
Oh,
hello,
Lord, yeah.
sir.
You have a home phone, then you're on the phone, then someone else gets on the line.
Yeah.
You hear breathing on. Is that you? No. James, get off the phone. It's a little brother.
Yeah. I remember call
Yes,
waiting.
call waiting.
When
Yeah.
you'd have to click over. Yeah, it is. I do think that there are, obviously, like everything, there are positives and negatives. I do think that it is, particularly, there's no secret about it. As a supervisor here, you're outnumbered. Technicians to supervisor there's definitely not a balance there. Which, I mean, obviously we wouldn't have one supervisor for every technician, but I do think that it offers more opportunities for you to be able to check in with people that doesn't require a whole phone call or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Because I do think that's, just checking in, making sure. I appreciate that about the technology that we have now. I think it's cool that we can video call, FaceTime
Oh, yeah.
people. I think that's
So great.
Yeah, it's very helpful in our business, obviously, because if somebody is having trouble describing what they're seeing.
Oh, yeah. Send me a picture.
Yeah.
Let me see it. Mm-hmm.
FaceTime me while you're there. So let me see it, and you could just talk through the whole
100%.
thing.
Yeah.
If I can see what you're working on, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
I had Jordan called me, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm working on." No, he was a part of a chat group on Teams, and he's like, "Yep, working on this old natural draft furnace here." And I'm like, "What in the world is going on out there?" This is back in the wintertime. And he's like, "Yep, taking the screws off so I can get this thing open." And I thought he was kidding. And 30 minutes goes by, and I didn't see any messages from him. And we all know natural draft furnaces are like the dinosaurs. They should not be in anybody's house anymore. And I call him. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm still taking the screws off the side of this thing." "Are you supposed to peel it, the top open? That doesn't make any sense to me." And I'm like, no, don't do that. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is take the blower out of the back.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. He's like, "Oh, I was going to take the whole shell off this thing." And I'm like, "No, that's not it."
Yeah.
But to his benefit, he'd never really seen one before because they're not really out there anymore. But I was like, "FaceTime me while you're there, and let's look at it together." And he was showing it to me, and I mean, that right there. I mean, I know it's not building relationships with people, but I mean, maybe you are. It's the trust piece. Mm-hmm. But it's just having that technology there to be able to use. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes such a big difference. Calling your family when you're out of town or something, it's like, I want to see everybody. FaceTime. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of really good pros that have come because of the technology.
Yeah, I do think it allows us to. That was one thing that I wrote down. I don't remember where I got this, but maybe it was Jim Rohn. He talks about how you have to kind of cultivate relationships like a garden. You have to spend time on them and effort. And so I do think that technology offers us a way to continue to build relationships, maybe when we can't be with a person in the same in their space. So with your family and your loved ones, it allows you to still kind of be with them, in quotes.
Connect, still be connected.
Yep.
Yeah.
To connect in a different way than just talking on the phone. I know I appreciate being able to FaceTime with my parents, on holidays and things like that, where I'm not physically at my childhood home. We're at home with each other, but being able to talk to them and for the girls to show them what Santa brought and that kind of thing. I do appreciate the fact that technology can allow us to cultivate that relationship with them by not having to always be in the same space with each other.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely a useful tool to continue to build the relationship or keep it going, if you will, at that status.
Yeah. So I think I think we might have already kind of talked about this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So I guess for both of you, what are the benefits of working on these what do you get out of it? What do you get out of it? What does the person get out of it? What does Morris-Jenkins get out of it? What are the benefits of taking the time to cultivate in all of our cases, all of these relationships? Because here at Morris-Jenkins, all of us have cultivated a lot of relationships, and we continue to work on those relationships kind of day in and day out. What are the benefits that we reap, or the other person does, or Morris-Jenkins does from that work that we put into those relationships?
I would say I think it keeps the culture going at Morris-Jenkins. You know, we're more bonded. It's not like we don't know each other. It was like, oh, I don't know who that dude is, whatever. He does, I don't even know if he does plumbing or HVAC. He could be electrical by this point, right?
Yeah.
But like, if the more you have those relationships, I think it kind of builds better culture, or continues the culture that we want to have at Morris-Jenkins, that we do. Other benefits I would say would be between like tech and supervision, maybe. Like, we know, like, we can trust them to go out and do what they know they need to be doing, right? So we don't have to be like watching them like a hawk,
Right.
to make sure that they're creating that experience, or that they're simply cleaning a unit. You know, like, I think the better relationship you have there, like, they know what's expected and they don't want to let you down, so they know they're going to go out there and do the right thing anyways. I think there's some benefits there to that, for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, you know, when you have the right relationship with people, it's like they would run through a wall for you.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's kind of what you're like. They'll go out, they'll be the Morris-Jenkins ambassador that we're hoping that they're going to be, because they don't want to let you down. They feel, or they have this desire to represent the company in a certain way, because you've built that in them, or built it through the relationship that you have with them.
Yeah. Or like when you ask them, like, you may need their help with something, and
Yeah.
they really don't want to do this, like, run an extra call.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you're on the way to do this, but I really need you to turn back around and go do this for me, because I'm in a situation right now. And they're like, all right, man, I got you. Like, I got you. Like, that's that respect. Like, I got you. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not every place out there is going to be.
relationship.
Not every place out there is going to be like that.
No.
I don't remember all the places that you've worked in the past, but there's some places I've worked. If my boss called me on the weekend, it's like, hey, I need you to come in. I'm good, bro. I got stuff going on.
Yeah, nope. Not happening.
I mean, and if you don't have, like, if you build relationships with the person because you genuinely want to build relationships with the person, I mean, think about it. Take work out of it. What is that called? It's called a friendship.
Right.
I mean, you're building relationships with the people because you want to do that. And I know you're not going to like everybody out there. I mean, I'm not a fool to say that if you work in a 650 employee company that everybody's going to be your cup of tea. There's people from all kinds of walks of life, but that doesn't mean that you don't care about people and you're not willing to help them and all the things, right? Me and Meredith were talking about this. I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but she was talking about running through walls for people. Brandon Anderson, I've worked with him for a long time. I mean, we've been here, I think he's been here 17 years, if I'm not mistaken. I've been here 14. And I remember when he got the CEO job, I'm downstairs. He walks to my office. He's like, hey, you got anything going on for the next little bit? I'm like, no, I'm just working on this thing. He's like, I need you real quick. Okay. He goes, my truck's running out front. So I go get in his truck and we just start driving.
No questions asked.
Just let's go.
And I'm just like, we're sitting on Tryon, about to get on 77. I got my hands crossed in my lap, and I'm just like, where are we going? And he's like, we gotta run out. There's a technician that we got to go handle some things with out there, and it's like an hour drive. And I'm like, okay. Like I wasn't even in a supervisor role. Like I had nothing to do with that. But he's just like, I need your help. I'm like, cool. If he called me on the weekend, or Mark called me on the weekend. I was saying, if Meredith, shout, like all these people called me on the weekend. You called me on the weekend. Hey, I need you for something. I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
Like that is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You're talking about benefits. I know for me, like faith is a big thing for me. Like, spreading the word of Jesus is number one for me. So everything that he did in his life and the examples he said, like you look at all these examples throughout, people would shame people when he was there providing love. Like you think about the old tale of the prostitute or whatever, everybody's about to throw rocks at her, and he like just bent down and like he's talking to her and he's just drawing in the sand, like just being there for her. And then he told everybody, like, if you basically, like, if you've never sinned before, then cast the first stone. Like he's just there out of straight love. So I think that's a big piece of relationships, is for me, it's spreading the love of Jesus, but it's also just doing that by example. He set the example. It's like, you could do these things too. I also just think, you know, you look at the whole scope of your life. What do you want to be remembered by and for? Are you going to be the person that was, you know, kind of a hermit, you kept to yourself and just kind of did your own thing? Or is it like, are you being honest with people? Are you known as an honest person? Are you known as a kind person? And kind people do kind things. How can I do stuff and I'm not expecting anything back? I'll just give a kind word to somebody. Walking by Ethan in the hall, I'll be like, you look huge today. Like that.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the last thing you want to do is be like, you look a little skinny. Dude, Susan said that to me one time. I'm walking down the hall. She's like, are you losing weight? And I'm like, no, I'm in bulk mode right now. But, yeah, I mean, just being honest and kind for people. And I think those things, you know, especially when you have kids, you want to set a good example for your kids of like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, this is the life you lead. Because ultimately you leave your legacy behind for your kids or your family or your friends. It's like, this is what that person, I knew them for, and it's impacted me so much that I want to do those same things. There was a advice that people give, like the best advice you can ever give in a relationship. And it was, make a list of things you want in a partner or a friend and then be those things. Mm-hmm. So if you sat down and said, this would be my list of 3 things or 5 things that I would want in a best friend or in a partner, make that list and then become that.
Yeah.
Because just like what I think it was Jim Rohn was saying, you take care of you for me and I'll take care of me for you. Mm-hmm. Like, you're growing yourself, you're doing the right thing so that you can be a good friend or a good partner or whatever, so that, you know, it's not, you don't want to just define yourself by another person and that's all it is. Like, you still got to better yourself and take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your mind, do the right things. You're doing that for the other person. And I think that's ultimately important. Yeah.
We've talked about this here on here before. No matter how introverted, I don't get energy from being around a lot of people all the time. It doesn't matter how introverted you are. Every human being wants connection.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. It really. I am not the kind of. I don't have a whole lot of friends. I have a small group of really close friends. That's how I operate. That's who I am. And I think there are probably people out there who have even fewer friends than I do, believe it or not. But I think I've had to come to the conclusion that that's the type of person that I am. But despite all of that, everybody wants connection. Every person wants connection. And so I think when you're offering that to other people and you're developing these relationships, you're satisfying like a human need of yours to be connected to people. And so I think that that's one of the benefits we get out of it, is you just lead a more fulfilling life when you have relationships, and deep relationships, good relationships, solid relationships with other people. I think it helps when you have these relationships. I think it helps when things aren't so great. So one thing they talked about in the emotional intelligence book is, the weaker the connection you have with someone, the harder it is to get your point across. So, like, if you don't have a strong connection with a technician, or if I don't build relationships with people that are going to be in classes with me, and I'm trying to get a point across about something, or you're trying to get a point across to a technician, the weaker the connection there, the harder it is for us to get that point across.
Yeah.
Which makes me think of conflict. So when things are kind of a little shaky, or there's a difference of opinions and there's no connection there, it's really hard to get your point across, or to be able to hear their perspective and share your perspective. Right. So I think that when we invest time in these relationships, one of the benefits we get out of that is it's more likely that person is going to hear our perspective and want to see our perspective when things are not sunshine and butterflies, which is really nice, especially when you are like me and you don't like conflict.
Yeah.
And really and truly, that is not how I avoid conflict, because that's a whole different episode. how I try and navigate conflict is to build the best relationships I can with other people so that when conflict arises, I can rely on the relationship that I've built with that person to navigate the conflict. So I think that that's one of those benefits from relationships is just the ability to be able to navigate hard times.
Mm-hmm. I think most people think you have to avoid conflict to have good relationships with people, and in fact, it's the opposite.
Yes.
Having conflict and hard moments. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the Mighty Ducks. You know, it's the movie started. It's one of those good 90s 2000 movies.
Yeah.
There's a little pop culture. But you think the beginning of the movie, the kids they're all bros together on the ice, and then the guy shows up, and then, then there's some conflict. They don't like him. Then he starts to bond with them. Then they bring in the kid from the Hawks or whatever, and they really didn't like him. But there was conflict throughout that entire movie. The coach was torn with conflict and all this stuff, but ultimately all that conflict brought them together, and they're even stronger because of that.
Yeah.
You think about marriages or friendships, stuff that's always going smooth, really just like working out in the gym. It's like you have to stress the muscle for it to grow. And in relationships, there has to be some type of stress or conflict that comes up. It will come up at some point, and how you navigate that will determine how much stronger you are past that. And I think, Ethan, you're a great communicator, and you think of conflict with people. Something that we could all improve on is being a better communicator with our friends and our spouses, whether it be DISC or just taking a public speaking class or just studying people online because, technology. Mm-hmm. It's like you can watch stuff and be like, man, I can mirror that. And the better communicator you can be, the better you can handle conflict, at least verbally, but educating yourself on like being a good listener. Having conflict with your spouse ain't going to go so well if you ain't listening to what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being able to just navigate that, and hey, the story I'm telling myself, good old Brene Brown, there's all these like great tools out there that can make you better with it, but avoiding conflict is not the way to go. And I know some people, it's just they've had maybe trauma in the past, and it's like they avoid conflict, or they think because conflict, I've seen it tear relationships down. There's like, I'm avoiding it completely. And in fact, if you manage it well, it makes you even stronger than you could before. So it's a little counterintuitive. You don't think it's supposed to be like that, but it actually is. Yeah.
I think I have a question for you, Ethan. So you are a great communicator, and I think that's a talent of yours. That's a God-given gift. Mm-hmm. And so I know sometimes when we have gifts like that or talents like that, it's hard to put it into words how other people can work on those things. And like we said, it's not about trying to be Ethan. It's not about trying to be Rob. It's about recognizing, what do I have that I can grow and I can get better at, mm-hmm. That will help me be better in whatever aspect of life that is. So what would you say are the things people could work on? Not trying to be Ethan, but what are the things that maybe come naturally to you that help you navigate building those strong relationships?
Kind of like, are you asking like coming from the field, like from a technician, like in a customer's house, like what can they work on building that relationship with the customer? Is that what you're asking?
I think it's either. So like when I hear you on the phone, like when you're just talking to a tech, it's mm-hmm. like that whole conversation is so natural for you. It's no big deal for you to kind of navigate. You ask questions, of course, about what's going on at the customer's home, about the customer,
yeah.
but then there's like this natural, like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Like it's there's just this flow or this thing that, and maybe other people can't replicate that. But I wonder if there's something people could
work on.
Yeah.
What do you see? What is it like? What do you see? What need do you see out there that you do that others probably could do to build better relationships? Mm-hmm. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I would say, if anybody's ever been on the phone with me, I'm always asking a million questions. Mm-hmm. Like I would do that in a house. Like I'm trying to get information here, because if the more information I have, the better I can help you. Mm-hmm. Right? Just with my customer, it was that way. With a tech, it's that way too. Like they're telling me what's going on. I'm like, whoa. how old's the unit? What kind of unit are you working on? Because I can picture it if you tell me what it is, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, like I need to know that information. That way I can help you. If you start just like kind of like rattling off like, oh, it's doing this and it's doing that. I'm like, all right, well, what's this? Well, what's that? I need all that information.
Mm-hmm.
And when I retook my disc, my C went up just a little bit because it was real low at first. It is still kind of low under stress, but like it's because I have to ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say asking more questions maybe is the best. Maybe the best advice I can, because you're going to get the information that way.
Yeah.
I guess, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that different, or how does that differentiate, or how is that different from maybe your relationships outside of work, like maybe with your wife or maybe in your friendships? Does that same thing that you're noticing change, asking better questions, or is there something different?
I mean, I think it's probably similar. I mean, the more questions I ask my wife about what's going on or what she's doing or what she's going through or whatever, the more I can understand it, so that I can turn around and be there, you know, or be on the, I can just get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get, see what her point is or what's going on with that situation. I think friends are the same way. So I don't know. I think it's probably blends between in and out of work.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, if anybody, like I said, if anybody's ever been on the phone with me, I'm always asking questions.
Yeah.
Do you ask a lot of questions from your wife when y'all are on the phone about stuff, or when y'all are face to face?
Yeah, sometimes I can see me asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it depends on her mood. She'd be in the morning. She's a morning person
Careful,
through and through.
Careful.
No, you know what? She's a morning person through and through, and like I'm there with her. Like I was up at 4:45, 5 o'clock this morning to go to the gym before I came here. So, but sometimes she's like too much in the morning. I don't even have to ask anything. She's like blah 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 blah, just like rambling it all out there, and I'm just like, okay, you gave me a lot of information.
You gave me much to think about while I'm at
I'll
the gym.
circle back.
Yeah, she's a planner too. She's like, I've been up since 4:30. I've already had 2 cups of coffee. This is what I've been thinking about. This is what I'm doing. This is what we're gonna do this day. And I'm like, okay, and I'm over here mixing my pre-workout. Like, that's my coffee. Like, she's over here shaking my shaker cup. Like, okay.
He's like, Ethan's life is real simple here.
Yeah,
It's get my
100%.
protein shake. I need my pre-workout, and I'm going to the gym.
Going to the gym.
What are you thinking about? What set I'm going to hit first?
Yeah.
How am I going to warm up today?
Yeah.
What do you feel like if we brought your wife on here and said what's something that you need to work on in the relationship, what do you think she would say? I
mean, I think going back, this is a little bit of counter here, but Meredith and y'all were both just saying that I'm a good communicator, but sometimes in, I guess, the relationship, like marriage, like sometimes I still struggle with that. Sometimes I have to work on it.
Same.
Like just something as simple as, I was getting ready to go somewhere one day. She wasn't home yet. I was off. And I went ahead and fed our dogs. And I was busy doing whatever I was doing. Her routine, she gets home at 5:30. She's going to let them outside. Then she's going to go, change clothes, do whatever, kind of get settled, feed the dogs. I didn't tell her that I fed the dogs. I just thought it was like, oh, she probably figured I fed them. They got fed twice that day.
Heck yeah.
Two cups of food per dog, and they're little. I mean, they were laid out food coma because they were scarfing it all down. Oh, she was fired up mad about it. Because I forgot to tell her. She's like, oh my gosh, they just got fed twice.
They're going to explode.
They're supposed to be on like weight loss food. And like just something simple. Like, I didn't say anything. I thought it was understood that I probably fed the dogs that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because sometimes we feed them a little earlier than their normal routine, but like just something as simple as that, like, like blew it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
man,
I didn't communicate very well that day.
Yeah, we've and I don't know if we've talked about it on here or not. I totally agree and think that it is sometimes the hardest to communicate with the people we are closest to, and I do not
know why.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. No. I don't know if it is because we care so much about what that person thinks
like
and
I could tell
feels.
someone else like how I feel about that situation, but trying to tell it to them is like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. I think maybe there's more at stake.
Yeah.
So like if I'm struggling to tell Michael how I'm feeling about something, maybe it's because really and truly I'm fearful of what he will do, and there's more at stake.
Yeah.
So if I'm saying like, listen, I can't do all of this. I'm not sure how to do this. I'm feeling really anxious about this. Then there's on the other end, like what if he's questioning like me as a person and who he chose? There's more at stake there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what, coming into work and saying, hey, I'm feeling really anxious about whatever, somebody else will listen to me and absolutely empathize and have a conversation with me about it. But then they go on about their day and they're not thinking about that
they
anymore.
have no stake in it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe some of it has to do with the fact that, I don't know, there's more involved when we're talking about those people that we're the closest with.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. I was, it's funny you say that. You are a good communicator. And I mean, I know that's what you basically do it for a job. You're talking to people
100%,
all day long.
All day long.
And
phone was literally dying yesterday.
I only got one bar left. This is going to cost you extra.
Yeah.
Susie, my wife, the same feedback. Like I communicate every day.
Aren't you the communications trainer?
Yes, and that's like the number one thing that I could do a better job of at home. And I don't know that I always recognized it until she gave me the feedback of like, you need to tell me what's going on, or you need to tell me what's happening with this. And I feel like I say things, but I think sometimes I think I say it, or I've said it in a way that she's understood it. Sometimes I don't say nothing at all. Like I think I scheduled some class for like 3 weeks out, and I'm like, hey, I have a thing coming on this night. Is that okay? And she's like, that's fine. And then I don't say anything about it. And then that night or that day rolls around, like, hey, I'm going to that thing tonight. Or she's like, hey, are you going to be coming home because we have this? And I'm like, no, I have that thing we talked about. And like, you didn't tell me. And I'm like, I did 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, I probably should have put it. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm dead. And I'm like, I should have put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
I should have reminded her. And everything that she said is 100% valid. And I'm like, I need to be better with that. Mm-hmm. And there's 100 things that when you think about a relationship, especially the ones that you have a stake in like that you really care about. Like I care about her more than anything in the world. But there's things I could do that would show her that that's really how I feel, versus just being like, that I care, well, you can communicate better. You can do this better. You can do this better. I'm like, I got it. Yeah. So I think as long as there's incremental change over time, which I've got better in some areas, and then there's still areas I'm like, I could do better at that. Because ultimately it's like, I want her to know that she's my queen. I want her to know that I care about her more than anything. But I think you said it earlier, like your actions have to show that. You can't just think it in your head and be like, she knows.
Yeah.
Or you can't just say it, because there's plenty of people that just all talk. It's like you gotta live the actions. And the same thing in friendships, same thing at work, building that trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why that's so hard.
I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to say those things, and it shouldn't be. It's sometimes hard to do those things, and it shouldn't be. That should be your number one thing that you're working on all the time, is your relationship with your spouse.
Yeah, for sure.
Or your significant other or whatever. That should be the number one. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Do you think it's maybe the frequency because y'all are around all the time?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's we've talked about the hamster wheel, the day to day. You get caught up in the day to day of like even you were talking about your routine. It's like she comes home, she does this, and there's just this routine to life.
Yep.
And it kind of gets lost in the sauce, I think, sometimes. And we're like, we know that we love each other. But I do think that there's, like, when he talks about cultivating the garden, like you have to still do those things. And the thing about it is, like, I want Michael to share those things with me. I want him to, because that's I want to help. I want to be a partner. I want to, and I think the same applies for him. He wants me to share what I need and what I want. I don't know why it's so difficult.
So hard to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe in our position, maybe yours and I's, Robin, maybe even yours too, we communicate, we do all this all day, and then we get home and we're like burn out.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to eat supper and just sit on the couch and do nothing.
Yeah.
I saw that look on your face. I've seen that in the reflection when I'm sitting over there. You're vegged out in front of the TV.
Yeah, like you're talked
Sometimes
out.
you burn out.
Yeah.
Yeah, after you get home, and then you're supposed to work on that relationship. You're like, dang, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, it's like, what do you call it? The matches?
Yeah, the 5 matches or 5 matches of the day. Do you use your matches throughout the day? What do you choose to use them on? Your energy, your time, your focus.
Yeah.
But then when you get home, do you save one for your spouse, your kids, your kids, your furry ones that you have?
The furry kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you have now?
4.
4 little
I've had
guys.
4 since 2019.
Well, I feel like you originally, was it 2 or 3, and then you got the 4th?
It was 1, and then 2 months later, the second one.
Yeah.
And then that would have been 2015. And then 2 years later, the 3rd, and then a year after that, the 4th.
Tell Meredith the names.
So we got Daisy. She was the first one. That's my baby.
They're all dogs.
Yeah, all dogs are named Daisy, right? Like, how? That's just so general. I don't even know how I came up with that, but Daisy. And then the second one was Roush.
Such a good name.
Such a good name. Well, at the time, I was always into the Mustang deal, so I was like,
He named it after my car. Is what
That's,
he did.
yeah. Yeah. I was like, I want a male dog and name him Roush. So then we got Destin in 2017. And, I mean, if anybody knows anything about me, I usually always take a week off in May and go to Florida.
He lives in Destin, yeah.
And that was our favorite vacation spot, so Destin got named after that.
Uh-huh.
And then we really wanted another one. We have 3 kind of English cream dachshunds. So then I was like, I really want a dapple. Which, if anybody knows what a dapple is, they're kind of like multicolored, like black. You got some white, some silver, a little bit of red mixed in, and they're all kind of like a Dalmatian. Like, they don't all have the same spots, right? So it's all kind of different colors. I was like, man, those are cool looking dogs. So I was like, let's get a dapple. And so she got me one for Christmas. It was actually 2018, maybe. Anyways, she got me one for Christmas, and I was like, well, we already have one male. Both females have a name that starts with D. The male has more of a Ford name in a way after the Roush Mustangs. So I was like, we got to name him something with an R and something related to Ford. Because that's just, I've always owned Ford vehicles, right? So Ranger. The Ford Ranger. I was like, that's a cool name. And now he's Ranger Ween. That's his nickname.
Ranger
Ween.
what?
Ranger Ween.
Ween?
For a wiener dog. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, Ranger Ween.
I love all the thought that went into that, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, well, if we're gonna have 4 dogs, they gotta have unique names.
I thought he was gonna
Other than Daisy,
I thought he was
guess,
going to name it Shelby.
So
I was waiting for it.
there's a funny story with that. So when we got Destin, no, actually it started with Daisy, and no, it didn't. It was Destin. We were trying to figure out what we were gonna name her. Originally, I had thought Shelby, but my sister-in-law is named Shelby. Shayna's twin sister.
Oh.
So I was like, that's kind of weird. We can't do Shelby. So
Or
that's why
you
that got
can.
ditched. Oh, we could, but yeah, so that got ditched. I was like, all right, we can't use Shelby. So
It could go one of 2 ways. It could be like, but I like you so much that we named our dog after you because we care. Or it's like, I despise you, so I... No, I'm just kidding. No, I get it. Well, I don't know if you know this. She's getting a little pup soon.
Are you?
You already came up with a name, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully I don't know when this episode will air, and I don't think my kids will listen to it anyway, but it's a surprise for our girls. We're getting a mini Bernedoodle.
A Vernadoodle? Bernadoodle.
Bernedoodle. It's a mix between a poodle and a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Okay.
So, and her name will be Indie, Indie, which is a Rock Chick name, first and foremost. I won't go into all of those details.
I know you've read the Rock Chick books.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
But she was born just a few days before Memorial Day. So Indy is short for Independence.
Okay.
So I'm super excited, super nervous. I've read 1 million articles and am getting all of our things all lined up and prepared right now. So
I don't. Pretty big.
So that's why we got a mini, because Bernese Mountain Dogs are like gigantic.
Yeah, they're like bigger than St. Bernards.
Yeah.
Isn't that the ones that have the little thing around their neck, or is that something else?
St. Bernard.
Yeah, that's a St. Bernard.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's why the mini she'll probably be 35 or 40 pounds.
Okay.
So that's
a
what
good medium size.
Yes.
Dog.
Yeah. I don't know how you got 4, because, whoa, Lord, just get
it's
ready.
It's a lot. Everybody's like, when y'all having kids? I'm like, bro, I got 4 kids. What are you talking about? They are like dealing with children sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm like in the opposite, because, our girls we're 14 and 11 now. Like, we're not going back to no baby situation.
Yeah.
But this is like everything I read is like a puppy is literally like a newborn.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just mentally preparing myself to go back to that place that I left behind so long ago.
Your mother instincts will kick back in for the baby stage.
Yeah. When the puppy's crying in the night, why did we do this?
Right?
Yeah.
So they want to go
for 2 weeks.
outside or whatever.
They call it puppy blues. There's a name for it. It's called puppy blues. And
really?
Yep. And it's like this feeling that people get like we made a mistake.
Oh. Because they get knee deep into it and they're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Because you feel, at least I feel like this strong... I feel a strong sense of doing right by this animal, obviously. Like, I don't want to commit to this and then, 6 weeks later, like, we can't do this.
Right.
Like, it's a commitment. And so I think that's kind of where the puppy blues come in. It's like you don't want to give the dog up because you feel committed to the dog, but at the same time, you're like, what the just happened? Because our lives just got, we're used to we're used to our deal now in our home.
You have a whole routine. Now this is going to completely change that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have 4 at home, so, like, if we go out somewhere, like, we got to be back home to let them out, feed them.
Yep.
It's like we have obligations. We got to go back home.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, everybody's like, oh, yeah, like, why don't you stay out or whatever? It's like, bro, we got to go feed our dogs.
It's a good excuse as you get older to be like, yeah, I got to go, man.
Yeah. Especially if summer, you're like, man, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock going to hit soon. I got to go feed my dogs, dude.
This actually sounds like it might work to my advantage.
It could.
It
really could.
Yeah.
Because y'all know I'm not trying to be at a party very long.
You start telling people, my dog has a bedtime. I got to go home. Got to put her down,
Yeah, that's why I say it's like having kids. Like, you have other obligations and responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though they're not like human people, but we may talk to them like they are.
Might as well, right?
There's no doubt I will. So maybe then, since you're a professional, maybe I'll be seeking out some
I can't wait
advice.
for in just a short period of time to be asking you how's that new dog going, and you're like,
I can't see her reaction on that.
I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
I love
you
her,
can learn
but-
from Shallon. She just got a puppy not long ago.
Yep.
Oh, she's been learning.
That's going
Sure.
great.
Blue, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, she's been learning. That's for sure. I thought it was gonna spook her out of getting Indy.
Yep.
There's been many a vet visit, many socks and things being eaten.
Oh yeah,
all,
get used to that.
Things.
You gotta almost like puppy proof the house.
Yeah. I was just reading about that last night. I gotta like get down on my hands and knees and.
Because they'll get into everything.
Yeah.
Michael's gonna be like, "What are you doing?" I'm trying to embody what a dog would be. I'm trying to get lower to the ground so I can see what problems are gonna be.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Well, Ethan, we've got some questions for you. These are what we call our rapid fire questions. So,
Okay.
I'm gonna let Meredith kick it off. She's gonna ask you a question, then I'll ask you a question. Just tell us the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, rapid is never rapid, but
Yeah, I was about to say.
we try. Okay, first one. Fill in the blank. Morris-Jenkins is.
The greatest place I've ever worked.
I love it.
It's a good
That's
one.
Me
that
too.
was pretty rapid, right?
It
Yeah,
was.
1 second.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, of course, when Corey was on here, Corey's brain, it didn't work like our brain. So what he said,
Nucleus.
nucleus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to, of course, then
Google it.
Not quite, but what do you mean by that?
we had to dive into that a little bit. But
Oh, okay.
I agree with you. It is also the best place I've ever worked.
That's one where you just leave it on the table and move on.
Yeah.
Let everybody
Y'all figure
marinate
that
on that
out.
one for a while.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, what is something that people often get wrong about you?
This is where the rapid isn't so rapid, I guess. I don't know, honestly. That's a hard one to answer. What do they get wrong about me? I mean, I guess this might be a me thing, but I even told my wife this the other day. Like, I feel like my career at Morris-Jenkins has obviously been a great one, and I kind of have a name for myself in a way, right? Like, you say Ethan, like everybody knows, oh, that's the PA guy, PA king. What, however they say it. But like, I don't know if people think this, but I don't ever want them to think that like I'm trying to be boastful about it or like cocky in a way. Like, I understand that. This is name dropping Jerry Rollins in here. This is like going back to him. Like, I'm the turtle on the fence post. I believe somebody saw it and put me there. Like, this is what you can do. And I kind of took off on it. Mm-hmm. So, like, I didn't get there by myself. Like, I don't want everybody to think, like, oh, I did all this, I did that. Like, I didn't get there alone, put it that way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if people think that about me, honestly. But if looking from the outside in, I would think that might be something someone thinks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's kind of like, not a fear, but it's like the
story I'm telling myself.
Yeah. Like, I have to make sure that I remember, like, hey, like, you didn't, like, don't be, like, be humble about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I did all those great things and it's cool and all, but it's not my time to shine anymore. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's so many people here, including myself, that's like, if people didn't invest in me and give me opportunities here, then I wouldn't have grown like I had.
Yeah.
So many.
This is going back to the topic of relationships. This is where rapid is not rapid anymore, because every time somebody says something, it makes me think of something else. But about the relationships piece, nobody does it by themselves.
Yeah.
That's just not how it works. Successful people, they don't become successful by themselves. That's just not how it works. We need other people to help us get to where we want to go, which goes back to the topic of relationships. I think even in the emotional intelligence books, he says you may not think that building relationships is a part of your job description, but if you do not, you will not be successful at your job.
Right.
And our job descriptions probably don't say things about building relationships with people, but it is 1,000% a part of every single one of our job descriptions to build those relationships.
Yep.
If for nobody else, then for ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
To get to where we want to go.
For sure.
Yep. Okay. Enough about that. I've never thought that about you, BT Dubs. So stop telling yourself that. Okay. All right. What's the last show you binge watched and loved?
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
When did you watch it?
Well, I ended up catching up to where it was live on TV, so I was able to like kind of keep up with it then. But I've went back and rewatched a lot of it, just to like catch things that I may have missed or pay more attention to certain things. But I mean, I love that show. I'm waiting. I'm like waiting for season 5 to drop.
Dang, I didn't realize there's that many seasons out right now.
Yeah, well, it's the second portion of season 5.
Oh wow!
I think like you know how they do. They
Yeah.
cut it off, and you're like, oh, what's
Drag
going on?
people,
And then you got to wait like a year and a half for them to finish the darn thing. So
That's
kind
a
of where I'm
good
at.
series. I
Super
think
good.
I don't think I realized how many there were. I think I stopped on maybe season 2. Man, such an interest. I heard a lot of the texts were talking about it, and then I started like YouTubing like clips from it. What's her name? What's the pink-haired lady's name?
Pink hair.
Oh, yeah.
Tater.
Oh, yeah.
Teeter or Tater?
Oh, yeah.
Teeter.
Tater.
Teeter.
Teeter.
She's got a country accent, so it's
100%.
kind of hard. But I just remember seeing her pop up, and I was like, she's hilarious. And I was like, I'll watch
She's
this
a
show.
character.
But
Yeah,
I think
she's
it's
Michael
Teeter.
Landon's daughter. Is this another showing my age? Remember the dad on Little House on the Prairie?
Yeah. Oh, that's his daughter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
Fun
I had no
fact.
idea.
You know
No
what
idea,
Little House
fun
on the
fact.
Prairie is, right?
I know what that is, yeah, but I haven't watched.
He's like, I've heard of said show.
No, I
Back in the
remember it.
20s, right?
I remember it.
The 1900s.
This fun
Laura
fact.
was the little girl, right?
Yes.
See, I know some stuff.
You can't just name drop people and just. He's like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, give us a concert that you'll never forget.
Dude, I go to so many concerts. Like I said earlier, I like live music. So
Yeah.
I go to so many concerts. Whether it's at like a hole in the wall bar and a band's playing, or it's like, you know, a Panther Stadium full of people.
Yeah.
But I mean, my top artist has always been Kenny Chesney, and I've probably seen him 7 or 8 times. And I enjoy every one of those concerts. So one of those probably.
He's staring off into space right now.
Yeah, like I'm trying to
Remembering.
think.
So
I've
good.
seen so many concerts. Like I'm literally going to Morgan Wallen on July 19th.
Yeah.
Like, and this will be the 3rd time I've seen him.
Heck yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. That's
Any-
a hard
any
one
of those.
for me because there's so many.
Yeah.
Just like me trying to pick
Songs.
a song. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have so many songs. I like so much music. I don't know what to tell you.
I
So
get
you
that.
just have to go with Kenny Chesney
Uh-huh.
because he'll
Yeah, I mean,
always be
as
at the
far
top.
as the person that I've seen the most, for sure. The most songs that I've ever connected to, for sure.
Oh,
So that's probably why.
yeah.
I would
It would be
probably
him.
say that's fair. I mean, just looking at the data, like, this is the one that I've gone to the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause
And
you keep
every
go-
show's different.
Yeah, you
know,
keep
in a
going
way.
back for a reason.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I missed it this year, which is fine. Shannon was like, "You've seen him like 8 times." I'm like, "Yeah, but you know, every time's a little different."
It's never the same.
Yeah, he's got new music out now. Like, come on.
It's like how we go to Chewy's every Friday. It's like, can we? How many times are you going to go there? It's good every time.
It's consistent. It's like Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You're never going
Like,
to be
when have you
upset.
ever had bad food at Chick-fil-A?
Yeah. Not many
I
times.
don't remember one.
I did have one experience that it would just completely threw our. We always go every Friday night to Chewy's if it's before practice or after practice, and we went maybe 3 weeks back and they were closed. Like a circumstance came up within the business and they shut down, and so we got there and we're like,
What are
we've
we
been
gonna
going
do?
here for 5 years on every Friday, and
Oh,
so we
no.
went to the next door to this pizza place. No, so then we ended up going across the street to Hickory Tavern. It just wasn't the same.
No. Nothing
not-
was
It threw your whole world upside down.
It really
Yeah.
did. I'm still upset about that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of Mexican, what's your favorite meal?
People are going to think I'm crazy.
Protein shakes.
No. No. Those are good, though. And someone asked me this a while back, like, what's your favorite, like, food or whatever it was. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had one, but a chicken BLT salad from Showmars.
What?
I know. That's why I said you're going to think I'm crazy. With no tomatoes. So take the T out of it.
Uh-huh.
No tomatoes. I can't do that. Or cucumber. Throw it away. I give it to her. She'll eat the cucumbers. But that salad is so good. And we make our own at home. That's not the same, but it's pretty similar. We have salads like that probably 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. That's what I said. You're going to think I'm crazy.
What kind of dressing?
Ranch.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A ranch.
You bring your own?
No, you buy it at the store.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can buy
You're
Chick-fil-A
saying when you
ranch
make
at the
it.
store.
You're saying when you make it at home.
Yeah, we have a Chick-fil-A ranch at home, but if you go to Showmars, you got to get their ranch, their house-made ranch.
Which one's better, Chick-fil-A ranch or Showmars ranch?
That's a tough one.
Showmars has homemade ranch.
How they make it in-house or whatever they do, yeah.
They make it in houses. They pour it out into.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
It probably comes
They
like
pour
shipped
it-
into a big 5-gallon bucket, but
Yeah,
either
'cause-
way, it's good.
They pour it
Okay.
out of the Hidden Valley bottles into
Yeah.
their bottle.
Because I am a ranch snob. Like, I
I've
don't.
heard that they make it back there,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know how they make it,
Huh.
but yeah.
I'm hungry right now, so I'm
But it's
thinking
good.
this
I
might be
promise
what-
you it's good.
It's a good thing it's not Monday for you right now.
I
It's
know,
good.
seriously. Okay, I asked the last one.
All right, last one. Give us a snapshot of an ordinary moment in your life that brought you great joy.
I guess not, doesn't have to be work related, just anything.
Yeah.
That brought me great joy. Can I do a work related one at first?
You can do whatever you want.
You may remember this. You probably do too. But in 2017, remember we did the PA competition in the summer? And it was like the golfing one?
Yes.
Remember that?
Dude. Epic.
That was epic. Like, and everybody right now doesn't know exactly what I'm talking about. If they weren't here before 17.
Give us a recap, because there are people here that got hired here that have no idea what you're talking about.
So that year, just kind of like what we're doing right now, if you sell Priority Advantage, X amount of mini a month, then you get a cannonball. Right now, it's like pirate themed, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But then it was golf themed. So we were like putting. So you had, if you got a golf ball or whatever, then that was a putt and it was worth X amount of dollars. You would put it into a certain circle and you would multiply whatever those earnings were times 1, 2, or 3. Well, they also had an additional competition going on with that the top 2 people per department, so at that time it was either CSRs, service techs, or what was it?
Well, if it was 17, we did plumbing in 17, but I don't know if
they weren't
were
in that yet.
I don't think they were.
They weren't in that yet. Anyways, there was like 3 or 4 categories. The top 2 people who sold the most out of each department would get
gold,
a golden ball.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be one of those people, and at the company breakfast in September or October, whenever it was, you got to putt that ball on this little single putting green like people have in like their office at work or whatever, and if you made it, you got $1,000 cash. I know it was probably 6 of us that putted. I was the last one. Everybody missed that shot, and I was the last one to putt and made it. And got
Did you remember
$1,000 cash handed to me by Jonathan Bancroft.
Dude.
I jumped up. It was Jerry Rollins Golf Club. Jumped up, threw it on the ground. I was like, holy crap, I just hit the $1,000 putt. Like, at work, that was epic. There's a video of it somewhere.
Is there really?
I think it might be on YouTube.
I'm sure there.
I found it one time.
Yeah.
It was like that. That was epic. Because in front of the entire company,
yeah.
Everybody missed it. I'm the last one and made it?
Because it was you had to putt it and it had to stop rolling in the circle or something like that, right?
It was an actual like cup it fell into.
The cup? Okay.
Yeah, it fell into it. But funny story about that is the expansion room is still here, obviously. And that green was up there for a while. So I would, like, every time I was close to the shop, there were times where I was like, I'm probably going to get the golden ball and I need to go up there and practice. And I practiced that putt and kind of got my swing down. And I think it obviously paid off.
It was like he won the Masters.
100%. Like, I mean, like, nobody else can say that. Like, that they won the $1,000 putt. You know, that was an epic moment in my career at Morris-Jenkins.
Okay.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
That's hilarious. I'll have to see said video.
It's somewhere out there.
I'm sure it is, and it's probably on MySpace somewhere.
On Ethan's old MySpace.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking about this before, and everybody always does their top 5 songs, and Ethan was like, I don't know if I can pick that. So maybe it's artists. So top 5 artists. Or if you've got a song that pops up in your mind, what would be those top 5?
Well, I've already said it before, and everybody thinks I'm crazy, but Kenny Chesney, and he gets sold out concerts, so I'm not the only crazy person out there. Kenny for sure. I love a lot of 90s country. Like, that's
Shania
my thing.
Twain.
Oh yeah, that's
Brooks
my
and
thing. Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson,
the Dixie Chicks,
Tracy Bird.
Shoot.
Like, I mean, I'm about it. And I was born in 90, so all my parents listened to was country when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. So all I grew up listening to through the 90s was 90s country. So that's like nostalgic for me. I know about every song. So, I mean, that's why it's so hard for me to pick an artist or 5 songs, because I've always loved music. And certain songs and artists I can connect to more than others, I guess. But I mean, if we're gonna go back to '90s, like Brooks and Dunn, I love all their music. Alan Jackson. Like right now, newer artists, I would say, I don't know if anybody knows them, but Chase Matthews really good as far as country goes. But I like 2000s rock and like 90s rock too. So I can get down with like Nickelback. Other people hate on Nickelback, but whatever. I'm a fan. Saw them last summer.
They're still out there running, huh?
Yeah, they had a concert at PNC last summer.
Wow.
I went to it.
Shane to go with you on that one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She like Nickelback?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm down with some Nickelback. That was when I used to play drums in high school. How You Remind Me, their song, that was the first song I ever learned how to play on the drums.
Oh, that one, you definitely got to connect to that one.
100%. Yeah. Like, I love that song. Because that's the only song I ever knew how to play on the drums, too. But one song or two songs, like Kenny's song, really, I actually have it on my arm in my tattoo, was it's called a Pirate Song. Are we supposed to play these?
No.
No, you're just telling us about it.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, he talks about,
Are you going to sing it to us?
Huh?
Are you going to sing it to us?
I ain't going to sing it to you. You don't want to hear that mess. I'll jam out in the truck on the way here, but I ain't going to sing it in public. That song, I mean, if you know me at all, like, obviously we spent a lot of time in Florida on the beach. Like, I love going to the beach. I've been to the Florida Keys. Like, I love going to Florida. And a lot of Kenny's songs, he's kind of an island guy himself, more his later music, I guess you could say. So that's kind of how I really relate to a lot of that. But a Pirate Song is a really good one that I like. It just talks about basically how, like, one day he's gonna get off this highway and he's gonna have his face in the sun, like on a boat, like in the bay, like living the life basically of like the beach life. And I even told my wife just not too long ago, I was like, we need to make it a point to move to the beach one day. Like, if we don't have to live on the beach, that's fine, but just close to it.
Yeah.
Like, just in the town, because I would go there every day. And people say don't move where you vacation, because then it's more reality. It's not an escape. I don't know. For us, and she's just the same way. She's such a beach bum. I think we would be there all the time.
Yeah. I think it's almost like these songs and these lyrics and things, it's like they kind of attach you to this end goal or this end something that you have in your mind about how... I kind of think this kind of beach persona, it's almost like I can see that as kind of part of you. You know, it's like you can appreciate what's going on around you, but you don't take everything so seriously. It's kind of like a beach vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I can see that as part of kind of who you are too. It's just the enjoyment of being around the beach, but the people and all the things that go along with it.
Yeah.
He's even got the tan to go along with it.
Yeah, it's like they kind of
That's
embody
right.
you to some extent.
That's right. I mean, I even have a pool and I have a tiki bar on it. Like, legit.
We're gonna get as close to the beach as we can without being there.
Yeah, like without being there. Yeah. I mean, I love it. That's summertime, spring, summer. Everybody's like, "Oh, I love fall." I'm like, "Fall's fine." Like, she's always wanting to put pumpkins out in like September. I'm like, summer's not over yet. Like,
We can
it's
still
warm enough.
We can still do a beach run.
Yes, we can still go do a day trip to the beach or something. Like, the pumpkins can wait. You know what I mean? But
leave the pumpkins behind.
Yeah.
Just go to the beach.
yeah, and I hate winter. So, like, just because I'll always love water, being at the ocean, the lake, the pool, whatever. Summer is like my thing. That's where we're at right now, thankfully.
Same.
And it's good for business.
Yeah. Win-win.
Oh man,
Well, 100%
I
for the
love the
business.
beach. You can keep the winter. The mountains are nice and they're refreshing to go to from time to time, but the beach is like, that's the spot. We're going to Hilton Head in maybe like 3 weeks or something like that. We always go down for our annual trip. So we're going down there for like a week and just going to go hang out. But that's like that little town right there. That is my place. I always tell Susie, I'm like, that always has felt like home for us. I don't know what it is. We've gone a bunch of beaches. We went to Destin maybe 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah, I
maybe something
remember
like that. Time flies. But we went there because of your suggestion, and I can't remember
Randy's
if I talked
been
to you
there too because of it.
I think I talked to you either before I left or when I was down there. I'm like, where do we need to go? What do we need to
Yeah.
do? And they had the boardwalk, all the things. It was just
Yeah.
like, the water was insane. I remember you had always talked about it and you showed pictures and I'm like, cool, man. And I got there, I'm like, this place is beautiful.
It's like the closest you can go without going to like the Caribbean or on a cruise or like going out of the country, if you will.
Yeah.
So, and it's closer than the Keys. The Keys are a similar, different vibe. But
those you almost have to fly unless you really want to drive from here all the way down there.
Where, to the Keys? I've done it. We did it 2 years ago.
I don't know how y'all could go over that long bridge.
May of 22.
Adrian did that with her kids. They drove all the way down there, and it was just like, I mean, it's a long drive.
It's a long way.
But if you can fly and get down there too, I mean, then
it's real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, we drove and stayed in Almirada, which is like a northern of the Keys. It's still like an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours from Key West. Like the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, from where we stayed. And we drove it all the way that one day. It was, I mean, it's cool. Like, we want to go back, but it's expensive.
It's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. But, yeah, I mean, I don't even remember what we were talking about now. Got off talking about
the beach
Keys.
life.
The beach life.
The beach life.
Kenny.
Oh, one day I'm going to live it 100%. I told her
live it.
that. One day we're going to live the beach life.
I actually had a lady. She does our lawn maintenance and all that stuff. She just comes and does like fertilizer and whatnot. I always cut it every weekend, and I'm just like, she needs to come back out here. This grass is looking like crap again. But anyways, she always came out there, and she was actually I had met her through work, and she was like, yeah, I can come out and do your stuff for you. I'm like, it's cool. And I'd see her every 6 months or so, and she's like, yeah, my dream is to live down at Old Myrtle Beach. I just want to be a crusty old sea witch, burn up like a little crab, walking down the beach with my metal detector. She goes, that's all I want to do. And I'm just sitting here looking at her because she does lawn maintenance as her whole job. And I'm like, girl, you already there. Like she was so burnt. And she always wore like the khaki shorts with the high socks and boots and everything. And I'm like, girl, you already there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's funny.
Dude, Ethan, I appreciate you so much for coming. We appreciate you coming on today. And, you know, we kind of had a list of people that we wanted to interview first right off the bat. And we were shuffling around trying to be strategic. And we were just like, we got to get Ethan on here.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, dude. You're such a joy to be around. And I know the listeners out there and even the people that just work here, I mean, never can walk away from an interaction with you without being laughing themselves, having a good time, or being better people. So I know our techs appreciate it, and I know everybody that comes in contact with you is better because of you. So we appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
Yep.
Like I said, I appreciate y'all too.
Having
me here.
Heck yeah.
It's a good time.
Absolutely. Okay. That's it, folks. That wraps it up. That's a wrap. We hope you have enjoyed this co-hosted podcast. Our Q&A question for Spotify is, what relationship can you tend to today or soon? Because remember, you got to keep tending to them so that they keep growing. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for being here, Ethan. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you to all of our listeners out there. And Rob and I will see you again in 2 weeks. But for now, peace, love, and easy does it.
Hey, appreciate y'all.